Okay, hello, hi. I am Peen, and I'm gonna be talking about an original species today. This isn't scripted, so there's gonna be a lot of rambling, and I'm sorry if there is. Um, so this is gonna be a video about an original species that I made a long time ago called the luvlees. And the luvlees were a species that I made for Club Penguin. Also, I'm sorry about noise in the background. I kind of don't have a good setup right now. My door won't close. Continuing, lovelies were an original species that I made for Club Penguin, and they still apply to that universe, although I have thought about making them a completely original species, but I have decided not to do that. Now I am thinking about reapplying them to a roleplay that is Club Penguin based called RP7, and you'll probably hear about RP7 a lot, especially on this channel, especially now because I absolutely love RP7. It's a sorry. This is about lovelies. The re- So, I've been thinking about making these guys a part of RP7, and I decided that I would make this video to inform the people that are a part of RP7 and don't know much about lovelies. Lovelies are a demonic species that I made for Club Penguin, as I said, and they are species that can apply to any race, any gender, any ethnicity, anything. If you can sacrifice them, then they can be a lovely, basically. I want to talk about the basics of them. Lovelies are usually born or created with one power, one ability. They also have this ability to break their bones. All of them do. Like, they can twist their neck into, like, an owl-like thing. They can break their arms without feeling any pain. Well, technically isn't breaking their forearms because their bones are really bendy and it's really complicated. Often when lovelies are recreated, they usually have an emblem on their chest. I'll show one on screen. A few lovely designs, they commonly have a symbol representing their power or their abilities. A few lovelies may have very ambiguous symbols that could literally mean anything. They usually have very odd color palettes, and usually they aren't naturally colored most of the time, although they can be, but most of the time they're typically very colorful for a demonic species. They They have the ability to have any power, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I've covered, I think, the basics. So I might as well go with, like, hierarchy, stuff like that. Lovelies were originally made by a ghost species, by the original Ghost Queen. The first lovely ever made was a lovely named Theos, and Theos would soon become the first lovely and would soon become the big league's leader for the lovelies. And when Theos was made, she was originally made, they were originally made to be a gift to the mortals as a sign of peace, in a sense, but eventually they became a creature of war that despised mortals, and, well, they absolutely fucking hated mortals and they wanted them dead. And, stuff like that. Lovelies are very violent. They're very mean and rude. They're usually mean and rude. They have an entire kingdom that's very Greek-based. Like, most lovelies are named after Greek names. Like, a character named Gina actually, I believe, means hello in Greek. It means hi or hello in Greek. One named Polymus, her name means war. Theos actually does mean God in Greek. Sorry. So let's talk about the headmasters. Canonically, well, not canonically, not RP7 canonically. In the original draft, there are 4 headmasters, but in RP7, that will most likely change. Their headmasters were the basically 4 other, or they can be multitude of other versions of lovelies that are usually stronger than most lovelies. They have stronger power, stronger abilities, world-shattering abilities, and they are usually made using an amalgamation, that's a better word, of souls. Mortal souls, dead mortal souls. Very, very angry and mean mortal souls. They have to be dead. If they're alive, the amalgamation can become unstable, and they can just become a big old monster pants. And being a headmaster means that you're usually larger and have a lot more designs in your coat than most other lovelies. Usually. It means that you're rather bigger, stronger, faster, smarter, prettier, lot prettier. And you have more designs on your coat, you're much more detailed. Well, if you're a normal lovely, you might have a few designs here and there, but that's just it. That's all you really have. Now, there are henchmen for each and every headmaster. Headmasters have henchmen to protect them, to serve them, to be loyal to them. One of the main headmaster henchmen is Gina. Gina serves one of the headmasters, and he pretty much is a klutz. He's a good boy, and I'm pretty sure he was the base for Cupid. He acts a lot like Cupid. He's a bad guy, basically. Continuing. Headmasters, henchmen, what else do we have? There are, defect lovelies that are very, very terrifying to think of. They'll have an extra wing, their wings will be melting, their arms will be stuck together. There are ways that a sacrifice can go wrong, basically. I have drawn this once, but I forget where the drawing is, sadly. But I should probably talk about more of the sacrificial rituals for it. You have to have your face painted, you have to have your organs spread all over the fucking place. It's pretty gruesome for a sacrifice. You have to do a chant. You gross, my siblings are having fun. It's just a gory ritual, all in general. So something that, usually happens with a transformation from a mortal to a lovely is that you'll forget who you are completely. You'll have no memory or recollection of who you were, and you'll just completely forget. And it's very rare that it will be very rare when a lovely does remember themselves from who they were. So there's that. You can also make a lovely by, smacking the wax, doing the do's, calling the stork, you get my drift. They can fuck. And usually with creatures, there's genders, male, female, vagina, dick. I probably shouldn't be talking about this on YouTube. That sort of stuff. But with lovelies, they have both. So you could be any gender you wish, and you could end up pregnant, basically. Another thing you have to know about lovelies and gender is that if you personally identify with a gender, you will transform into the features of said gender. Let's say lovelies when born are very gender neutral. They don't look like girls, they don't look like boys, they just are named after a Greek item and then move on. When they're babies, they usually are referred to as them or their because of the gender neutral aspect to all this. And usually by the time that they're 10 or 12, they're usually put into a military camp where they basically learn to be the best lovely that they can be. Now, there are occasions where lovelies are made as children, where they're sacrificed when they're mortals when they are, And then usually they'll be put into a category. I forget if I did anything with that. But usually if you're a lovely child and you are made from 10 to 12, then you'll be sent off to camp anyways. Basically, the camp teaches you how to serve your headmasters, how to be loyal to your code and all that. Basically, it's just a fucking military camp, basically. So, there's that. What else is there? What do lovelies do with mortals? They murder them. They fucking hate them, as I said. They kill, they maim, they destroy. That's what a lovely does. They don't care about who you are. They just want you fucking dead. And I think, as I said, I think it'll be a fuck it, a fuck it of fun. A fuck it of fun. Just for the RP7 characters to interact with species like this, which is why I recommended the species for RP7, because goddamn, if Barclay could get his hands on a winged creature that can fucking murder someone, he fucking will do it. And I feel like it's gonna go 7 ways south. That's not good. Continuing, I do think that lovelies would be a good species for RP7 because we already have a lot of species involved. Like, the Lizoths is one of them. What else can I talk about when it comes to lovelies? Lovelies... Shit. What else can I do? Lovelies are born gender neutral, yada yada yada. What can lovelies not do? How can you kill a lovely, you may ask? Well, there's a few ways. The last person I talked about with lovelies with believed that there was no way to kill a lovely, but there are actually a few. There are spells that can kill lovelies. Fire can also kill lovelies, so Ravo versus a lovely, the lovely would most likely be fucked. Acid can do that. There's a lot of things that can kill a lovely. Like, if you can completely destroy the body of a lovely, then you're pretty much set. Now, this doesn't mean that every single way to, like, destroy a body is just completely killing a lovely, because I had this concept that a lovely can return from the grave. On rare occasions, a lovely can return as basically a skeleton, because fuck you, October exists. And it's my birth month, so they can return as a rare species of skeleton lovely or a zombie lovely. Explodia. Just kidding. They usually won't be as powerful as they used to. They can only awaken at night, all of that jazz. And yeah, that's how a lovely dies. We've discussed how a lovely is born or can be born. I have discussed, I believe, the hierarchy, which is headmasters, grandmaster, the history about how they were made by ghosts, all of that special stuff. There's usually holidays, like once a year, they'll go out on the town and basically murder everyone. That is called Harvest Day, I believe. Harvest Day is when the lovelies get together and are like, hey, let's just go fucking kill some mortals, and they do that. They do that. Because they're so fucking evil. I fucking love them. They're so mean. They're mean and bad and rude, and I love them. They're my babies of murder and death. So I think this is going to come to a close. I only have a few minutes left. A minute or so left. But yeah, that's it. That's all I really got to talk about when it comes to lovelies. I love their designs. They are demons. They are very powerful babies. And yeah, that's gonna be it from me. Bye.